For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble, and thank you for tuning in at thescribbleshow.com and on SoundCloud and iTunes. Are you happy the week is over? Happy Memorial Day, by the way, to our American friends. Yeah, it's one of those weeks where you were just like, let's just end it. Let's get it over with. Because, well, you know what happened on Monday, right? The Manchester Arena bombing after the Ariana Grande concert. Everybody has already said everything about it, so I'm not going to go into a big 5-minute rambling thing of this is sad, it needs to stop, you know, we've got to do this, because we know that, we get it. That's also why I don't understand when I pass the TV, and I've mentioned this before, and I see CNN, and just last night there was Jared Kushner, you know, Trump's son-in-law. I walked by the TV, it was on, I saw that was the headline on the screen. I took the dogs for a walk. 45 minutes later, came back. That was still the headline on the screen. People were still debating it and talking about it. So I really have nothing else to add to the whole terrorism thing. It's sad. It's horrible devastation, the people that lost their lives and the families that are affected by it. But I'm not going to go on a rant about terrorism just because that's what everybody does. Like, you know, like, I don't have the solution. I don't know what to do to fix it. I can't really do anything to fix it. I'm not going overseas and fighting people and doing things like that. So I think it's wasted energy, I think, sitting here and just bitching about it every day on social media and Twitter. It's horrible. We all know that. Nobody says that it's a good thing. So that's that. And of course, like I said, our thoughts and prayers are with those families. I'm not a complete dick, but certainly I'm not going to dwell on it. Let's talk about some happier things, though, because coming up later in the show, Dean Brody, one of our favorite country music artists in Canada, Dean Brody is on tour, and he stopped in my hometown of Winnipeg a couple of weeks ago, and we did a chat in his dressing room before the concert, and we aired that on our syndicated radio shows, Top of the Charts and The Open Road, and unfortunately, it was a Friday, and that's when this podcast goes live, and we had already pre-taped because we had a deadline for this show, so we couldn't stream the interview live with Dean Brody here on the podcast. So we're on a bit of a delay because we also had some timely interviews with Leanne Rimes talking about Stepmother's Day, and then Alison Janney on as well. And so now we're airing Dean Brody, and you're going to hear the chat with him, and he answered a bunch of questions from our audience, from our radio audience, and they had some interesting things they wanted to know. So you'll stick around for that because that's coming up. And I have a little bit of rambling to do after this break. So more here on The Scribble right after this.
Airfares go up and down more than planes themselves. Pricearazzi.travel has you covered when flight prices change on Expedia.com. If the prices drop, you'll be sure to know about it. There's already so much to remember when you travel, and you shouldn't have to worry about paying more than you needed to on your flights. Let Pricearazzi.travel keep an eye on that for you. Your biggest concern should be if you've packed enough money to buy all the trinkets you really don't need, or if your swimsuit shows off enough skin in all the right places, or that while you are away, the kids have enough food in the kennel and that the dogs get to school on time. Wait, flip those last two. Simply register your email address with Pricearazzi.travel and then book your flights on Expedia.com. Your itineraries are automatically sent to Pricearazzi, and you could do your happy dance if the flight becomes cheaper in 24 hours. Better yet, you could actually end up flying for free. And who doesn't love free, right? Find out how to save on your Expedia flights at Pricearazzi.travel. Avoid bank account turbulence and sign up now at Pricearazzi.travel.
Jeremy Bradley here on The Scribble. We were talking the other day here about when, somebody has something in their teeth, do you point it out to them? Do you sort of just give them a signal? Do you motion to them? Worse if it's on a date, right? This is maybe your first date. You're just meeting the person. How do you tell them things like that, right? And then there's that whole thing about getting caught looking somewhere you shouldn't be. Now, this happened to me in a meeting. I swear to you, it was a few years ago. And I was in a meeting, and I was sitting right across from a woman, and she had hair on her chin. She had long hairs on her chin, and she was a young girl. And she also had a low-cut blouse on, but she had chest hair showing. So again, like maybe 3 strands of hair or 4 strands of hair. So when you're sitting and you're having a conversation, we're making eye contact, we're looking at each other, and then there's that time when you sort of do look away, right? Because you don't just stare at the person the entire time you're talking. So when they look away for a brief moment, that's where you go and you get your glimpse. And it's no different for a guy who wants to check out a girl's boobs or whatever it is, right? You wait until they're not looking, and then you make your move to look. And so it was incredibly awkward because I'm sitting there going, it's distracting when her mouth is moving because I can see the hair. And if I can see it from across the table, how has she not seen it and wanted to pluck this before leaving the house when it sprouted weeks ago, right? And then at the same time, you're wearing a low-cut blouse. You would think that when I'm looking down at my chest right now, not that I wear low-cut blouses here in the office, but there's a part of you that is kind of like, you know what? I have hair showing there. And I would believe that in North America, most females do not want chest hair showing when they're wearing a low-cut blouse. I could be wrong. I'm not into fashion. I don't really know. But it was very distracting that I'm seeing these things. And so thankfully I wasn't busted, not that I know of anyway. But it could have been like, oh my God, you were just checking out my boobs. No, I wasn't actually, sweetheart. I was looking at your chest hair because I am in my 30s and you have more chest. I don't even have chest hair and you do. So there's an issue here. But, it was incredibly awkward because I could have been busted staring at her chest, but not for her boobs, for her chest hair. Her chest hair. I'm sorry. I'm clutching my chest right now just telling you this story, ladies and gentlemen. It was very awkward. And so naturally, of course, when I get out of the meeting, I have to tell everybody, I'm like, oh my God, I was so distracted by her chin hair and her chest hair. I couldn't believe it. And I realized that your body changes as you get older, and, you do get hair growing in places, men and women. You do get hair growing in places that you didn't normally have. This was something very different. And then it starts to make me wonder, is it just her? Like, do women shave their chests? Is this a thing? Because I know the term used to be metrosexual men do it, but to women, you shave your legs, okay, I get that. You shave your armpits, okay, that's cool too. Women, do you shave your chest? Is this a problem for a lot of you? I want to hear from you. Send me an email live@jbonair.com. I hope somebody's eating right now and is just absolutely disgusted by this story. live@jbonair.com.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
Jeremy Bradley here on Top of the Charts and The Open Road, our Top 40 show and our country music show, both broadcasting today from the Dean Brody concert in Winnipeg, Manitoba. We're at the MTS Centre, and I'm somewhere where not many of you get to go. I'm in Dean Brody's dressing room. Dean, exclusive access. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Welcome to backstage.
In a couple weeks, so we're going to be talking about Canada Day, and I know we've got so much to share about this country because it is great. But that's something that's so hospitable when it comes to country artists that it's just welcoming. You feel like family, right?
Yeah, I definitely do. I've been, very fortunate to have amazing fans, and yeah, like just Canadians in general. It's what inspires me to write what I do and to perform like I do.
You really bring that to the shows, though, when you're doing the concerts, because the audience is so close to you as well. You can see them, and then they're interacting on social media. We've got a bunch of questions that I'm going to ask you in the next segment. But that's got to be really important, just to connect with your fans, because years ago, without social media, you didn't have that opportunity. You might have got fan letters in the mail, and then you'd write back and send it. But now there's this interaction, and so people appreciate that so much more, don't you think?
They really do, yeah. Like for me, I guess when I was growing up, I almost found it kind of cool that artists that I looked up to were like mysterious. I didn't know what they were up to. And I kind of like that mystery, but like nowadays I think it's important. Like people want to connect, through social media and stuff. And so it's actually kind of exciting. It's a great platform to communicate to our fans without having to actually be at a show. Like I can communicate to my fans anytime. And they can respond as well. So it's actually really cool. It's a great progressive thing in music.
So, we've got the hashtag, right? That's all about social media. Beautiful Freak Show Tour. And let's talk about the name of the tour. Where did that come from? What does that mean to you?
I guess the latest single is Beautiful Freak Show, and it's we just thought it's actually kind of a cool name for a tour because it just all the different songs that I have. Like I think of the songs I've written through the years and then have become like hits on radio, and they're a lot of them are different from each other. Like you got like bluegrass kind of tunes, and you've got like Crop Circles or Bounty or even like Freak Show or Bring Down the House. Like there's so much, it's a conglomerate of different genres, and so we thought, this could be kind of fun to call it Beautiful Freak Show.
Maybe it's a cliche question to ask, but when you're writing music, where does your inspiration come from? It's got to be different for each song, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, like I find a lot of times I'm pulling from my own experience, growing up in the country, and just my own, how I've lived my life, but also like watching other people. Like I'm fascinated by how other people live their lives and different characters that I've met along the way and along my journey. And so every once in a while I'll also try and put myself in someone else's shoes and try and write a song from that perspective. But yeah, like it's a mixture of both my own experience and other people's experience.
Earlier we asked for questions from your fans and from people coming to the show here in Winnipeg. We've got a ton of them. Hopefully we're going to have enough time to get through all of them. So if you can stick around. Well, you're going to stick around. It's your dressing room. I'm the one that's going to get kicked out. Okay. But we'll ask Dean Brody some of your questions coming up right after this.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
Jeremy Bradley here, still backstage with Dean Brody exclusive access, and we're just doing some shots back here. I'm kidding. We're not. We are not having drinks.
We can. No. They're next door. Yeah, it's a little early for that.
It's true. It's 7:30 in the morning. No, I'm kidding. But, I was saying in the last segment, Dean, that we had a whole bunch of questions sent in for you. So if you're game, I'm going to put you on the spot. Some of these are probably hard-hitting, if you're okay with that.
Okay, do it.
Okay. Shelly Ann wants to know, how old were you when you first performed on stage?
Oh, wow. Oh, I think I was probably 16. I did a talent contest in Calgary.
What did you sing? What did you do?
I think I did a Clay Walker song at the time. I think it was If I Could Make a Living Out of Loving You or something like that.
Can you give us a little bit of it now?
No, I forget the song, actually. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, no, I guess I was 16.
Yeah.
Late bloomer.
Yeah. I was just told that we'd end up having to pay for the song if you sang it, so it's best if we don't sing that one. Terry wants to know, oh, come on, Terry, how many cowboy hats do you travel with on tour?
I have two. I've got the one I always wear on stage. I've had it for about 8 years. It's falling apart now. If you guys take a good look at it, it's falling apart. It was a $25 hat. And I also carry around my dad's hat that he used to wear on the range. It's dusty and dirty, and it's just this, I don't know, I just like carrying it around. It's a little bit of my dad. I guess it reminds me of him, so I carry it around with me.
Do you wear that one, though, or that's just sort of a memento that you take with you?
Once in a while, if I dress up or something, I might put it on. It's the brown hat. If you've seen me wear a brown hat, that's his.
That's nice. Nice. Sharon wants to know, which of your songs gets the biggest reaction wherever you perform?
Bring Down the House, yeah, without question.
How ironic, eh? It brings down the house. There you go. Cody wants to know, this is a really good question because, we see how people get famous and noticed so quickly on social media and, thanks to YouTube and places like that. So Cody wants to know, what advice would you give someone trying to make it in the music business?
I think the biggest thing I would tell people, I've been asked this question a lot, is I would just really try and learn how to write a song and get with a group of people that are like-minded like you that want to create music. I think if you can write your own songs, you empower yourself. You can have more say in your future. If you don't write and you have to rely on other people to write your songs for you, it kind of ties your hands a little bit. So that would be my biggest thing, is learn how to write a song. I moved to Nashville. I actually wasn't a good writer. It took me, I think, a few years to learn how to not write garbage. And even to this day, like, I write garbage. You just do. You just, once in a while, you just write something. You're like, I can't believe I did that. And so you just have to keep trying. But songwriting, I think, is key. Like, if you can write your own songs, you're going to open a lot more doors for yourself.
And I think, and the songs mean more to you then at that point, too, because you've put your heart into them, not somebody else who's writing a song for the sake of writing a song. So do you set aside time to write, or what's your process?
My process is just, I've got some instruments around the house, and I'll just pick them up and noodle on them. I might write max half an hour a day. Max. Like, the whole Nashville thing, I got really burnt out because you're forcing yourself to write all day long every day. But for me, I just noodle around on stuff, like guitar, ukulele, whatever. And every once in a while you hit on something and you spend more time on it. But if I find I get writer's block if I force myself to write, so I just do it a little bit. I treat it like a hobby still, really.
Yeah. What was the quickest, or not even quick, let's say easiest, or I don't even know what the word would be, song that you wrote? Which one just came naturally that you're like, oh, I can't believe it, this is awesome?
Yeah, Time took about 25 minutes. And
wow.
I didn't think much of it either. Like, it was the last song I submitted to my record label and to my producer, and it turned out to be like this song that resonated with everybody. It surprised me so much. But yeah, some of them just come out really fast, and some take months to develop and to work on. You have to kind of leave them alone. You treat them like a junkyard of cars. And I take one car and I'll take the chorus from this and mash it with the verse from that. And some are just a lot of hard work, and some are easy, and you just don't know how they're going to all. You just don't know which way it's going to go.
Happy surprises.
Yeah, no, that's what I love about songwriting. You just never know what's going to happen, and it almost sometimes feels like it falls out of the sky, and those are the best, and that's definitely what happened with Time.
We've got to get back to the music. I hope we can do segment 3. We're only supposed to do 2, but if you've got a few more minutes, because we got audience questions that we need to get to. More with Dean Brody right after this.
It's never too early to start thinking about your next holiday. Have you checked out Mexico recently? From tequila tasting, swimming with horses, to ziplining through the jungle and watching whales and dolphins in their natural habitat, Puerto Vallarta has it all. Visit mexico.jbonair.com to see all the fun PV has to offer. That's at mexico.jbonair.com for hundreds of photos, interviews, and videos from around the tourist hotspot. Check out mexico.jbonair.com for all the fun. That's mexico.jbonair.com.
Jeremy Bradley here, once again live from Dean Brody's dressing room in Winnipeg, Manitoba at the MTS Centre. You're going on stage in just a short time. We've got to wrap this up, but still a bunch of questions from your fans here. So Dan wants to know, what is the craziest thing that has happened on stage during a show?
Oh, wow. The craziest thing, I think, there's two different things. Like, people come up and they'll goose me, grab my butt. That doesn't happen much anymore because we have security and the stages are taller. But if we're ever
that's why they're taller.
That's why, exactly. That's why. But which is always kind of funny. And then of course they get escorted out of the building. But I don't know. I mean, my pants ripped one time. I did this rock and roll pose, and it was second to last song. I think it might have been Bring Down the House. My pants ripped from the crotch down to my knee, just this gaping hole. And I didn't realize until I got off stage, and the guys were like, dude, your pants. And the next day on Facebook, I saw it too. But luckily, it was in Sudbury where it was cold that night, and I had long johns on, so I was okay. But it could have been disastrous for sure.
This next question, I actually wasn't sure I wanted to ask you, but you went there just now with your split pants. So I'm not going to ask you, but Holly has a question. Why don't you read it to everybody?
Okay, Holly is asking me, do you wear boxers or briefs? And I have to say I'm a boxer guy. I like boxers.
Okay. And then Alana wants to know, are you a dog guy or a cat guy? Dog person, cat person? Do you have a preference?
Man, I like them both. I love my dog. I don't have a cat right now, but grew up around cats, and I kind of like cats because they remind me of like a cougar. I mean, they're like a miniature version of a cougar, and so, yeah. I mean, the right cat, perfect. The right dog, perfect. It's all about personality to me.
Quinn, this is actually from Winnipeg here, hearing that at Dean Brody is bringing not one but 2 chainsaws to the show tonight. I went through a metal detector coming in here. I just got to tell you. You can bring chainsaws in here? What does that mean?
I don't know. I don't know if we're even allowed to, but we just do it every night. And I'd get security or whatever. They just let us do it. So, yeah, 2 chainsaws.
They don't mess with you when you've got the chainsaws. Trevor wants to know, does he have any pre-show rituals?
Mostly I just hang out. We hang out with the guys, backstage, and we just have a couple beers and just get ready for the show and, just make sure we're got all our technological gear all just figured out, and then we head to the stage and have fun.
Finally, here's one from Mom. Now, in fairness, she doesn't email and she doesn't tweet, so she called with this one. She wants to know, what should I wear to a Dean Brody concert? Because she's going to be, you're going to hear her probably is screaming, and she might throw her orthopedics or something on the stage if that's allowed. Mom gets a little bit crazy. Sure, yeah. So it's a casual, it's a fun concert. But I guess my mom, who's a little bit worried, should she dress in jeans? What would you suggest for the most comfort?
I would say, because it's a country show, just casual. Yeah. Something comfortable, maybe some jeans, some boots or comfortable shoes. I wear running shoes around. You can see them right here, these blue running shoes. Nice. I wear them around everywhere because the arenas are all concrete floor, right? Mm-hmm. So boots only come out at night. Yeah.
We got to wrap this up, but you've got a whole bunch of other tour dates across the country. You're in the middle of the country right now. You're heading west next, I believe?
Yeah, we're heading to, I think it's Brandon tomorrow night, and then we just, keep going, keep trucking west. We go out to Victoria, and then we wind up back in Alberta. I think we wind everything up June 3rd in Calgary.
But then, big show, July 1st. I know you're heading to Ottawa. Yeah. You're performing in the Capitol for 150.
Yeah, I can't wait. What a birthday it's going to be. And so to be able to sing Parliament Hill or whatever, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah. And I know you're going to be joining us for our Canada Day celebration. We're going to have 2 hours of all Canadian artists from coast to coast to coast talking about music. So we'll talk to you again in a little bit. And again, the hashtag for the tour, hashtag Beautiful Freak Show Tour, and at Dean Brody are your social media handles. Yeah. We'll get those on there. Well, you know what? Thanks so much. I've got to get out of here. You've got to get ready for a show, and we'll see you in just a bit.
Okay, thanks, Jeremy.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate, at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate, at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
The Scribble continues now. Jeremy Bradley here at the controls, and again, thescribbleshow.com and on SoundCloud and iTunes. I am a public figure in my city where I am because I'm in the newspaper and I have books out, and so people know who I am. And it's awkward when people know you and you don't know them. And so you can imagine how, let's say, a Hollywood celebrity feels if they're in movies and TV shows, or they're a music star or whatever it is, that everybody seems to know things about them, but you don't know anything about the people that are coming up to you and approaching you. Your fans, let's call them. So not to say that I have fans where I live, but it is awkward because people will give me sort of a look that they know who I am, and sometimes they'll say something to me, and sometimes, it happened before when I was Christmas shopping. I got to a mall, and I heard somebody say, as I walked by them, that's that cheap guy from the newspaper, because my book, The Official Guide to Being a Winnipeg Cheapskate, was a bestseller in the city, and a column in the Winnipeg Free Press, and people know who I am. So, again, there are certain things that you want to be known for. Being a cheapskate, I guess, is my claim to fame, and that's fine. I brought it on myself. I wrote the book, and, it's a bestseller, and it's helped pay my mortgage, so there you go. If you don't like that, too bad. Nothing wrong with being a cheapskate and creative with how you save and spend your money. That's what I say. So it's interesting then when somebody you kind of recognize and they look familiar to you, but you don't exactly know who they are. So this happened to me. It happens to me quite a bit. So I was motoring through. I was on the phone talking to somebody, and somebody else had approached from my other side. So my phone was to my right ear, and I'm walking, and the person was coming up on the left-hand side. So they didn't see that I was talking on the phone, and starts mentioning something, and I didn't hear what they said because I was paying attention to my phone call. And so I ended the call. I said, well, you know what, I'll call you back in just a bit. Bye. And so I'm like, oh, hi, how are you? Totally recognized the person. Totally knew her. I'm like, okay, did I work with her somewhere? Is she part of, what is she? Who is she from? Where is she? What does she think? What's her story? And so she starts talking to me, and she's talking about the baby. And so I'm thinking, all right, well, my brother and his wife he's one now, so he's not necessarily a baby. But then I was like, okay, so the baby. Oh, baby is blah, blah, blah. So pretty. Okay, so pretty was the key word there. And I'm thinking, pretty. Okay, well, my brother and his wife have a boy, so it's not a boy. But what baby girl? Like, I don't know baby girl. Then she says my cousin's name. And so I'm like, oh, okay, so she knows my cousin. Brain's going a mile a minute, right? Because you're also trying to make conversation at the same time. By the way, you can't see this right now. I've got my eyes closed and I'm tapping my forehead. I'm sitting there going, okay, she knows my cousin. Okay, but she had a family get-together. So again, all the while you're trying to make conversation, but in your head you're scanning your memory of everybody that you've ever met, never seen, ever talked to in your life. And I know her. I'm sitting there, I've seen this woman. I've had conversations with her. She knows my name. And I just feel terrible because I don't know where she's from, what her name is, or who she is. And it's happened before where people can ask me all about my brothers and my mom and my grandma and, you know, all this, so they know my family, right? It's a legitimate, you know, conversation they're having. And I just feel terrible, and it's awkward, and I feel it to be rude if I go and say, I don't remember your name. I'm sorry, I don't remember where you're from. You know what? I refresh my memory again. Because I know that this is somebody who I've talked with a few times, and maybe at one time I did know her name. But I just couldn't place it. It was terrible. And so it's embarrassing. And I can't go and ask about her family because I don't know that to begin with. And so she's going on about my cousin and the baby is beautiful and blah, blah, blah. And then I placed it. She was the receptionist at my cousin's office. I remember her now. But for the life of me, I can't remember her name. So, and I'm not one of those people who talks and keeps going and saying, you know, oh yeah, great to see you, George. You know, Tammy, you're right. I don't put people's names in conversations when I'm talking to them, just because I'm like, they know their name, so I don't need to do that. And I find it awkward too when I'm talking and they're like, you know what? You're right, Jeremy. You're right. It's awkward. I don't know. I just don't like it. So anyway, it's awkward when you don't know somebody, or you know of them, or you recognize them, but you can't think of for the life who they are. And so I had that instance with that woman. And then another time where I'm trying to think of where I was, that a guy all of a sudden just, you know, wherever I was sitting, I think, was I at a restaurant? I'm trying to think. He's like, hi, remember me? And that's awkward. That's even more awkward because you're put on the spot right then and there. If I go and say, I have no idea who the hell you are, I look like an ass. And I don't want to go and say, well, of course I do. Because then that's just setting yourself up for, okay, who am I? What's my name? Where am I from? How do you know me? So I just laughed it off. And then he walked away. And so then I ended up seeing him again. And I was just like, I know you. You're so-and-so from such and such. But here's the deal, is that I ended up having to now rack my brain going, okay, I think I might know him from somewhere. So I had to find contact information for the person that I used to work with at that place. And we're talking years ago. And sure enough, it was that guy. And so that person that I know still works at that company and said, yeah, the guy left there a few weeks ago and he's now working at such and such. And I'm like, okay, I'm at such and such right now. That's how I know him. So then finally I did approach him and I was like, yeah, you know what? I was talking with John and da-da-da-da. But for the life of me, that's so incredibly strange where somebody just comes over, hey, remember me? How do you answer that? I would love to know how you would handle that. Send me an email, live@jbonair.com, live@jbonair.com. Do you play it cool? Do you just like, of course I know who you are. You're from, right? You just cover your mouth. Oh, you're, and you mumble the name? I don't know. live@jbonair.com.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com.
Thank you very much, Larson. Yes, we're on the Twitter at The Scribble Show, and I am also on the Twitter with my own account at Jeremy D. Bradley, Jeremy, the letter D, and then Bradley, Bradley. And especially with The Bachelorette back Monday night on ABC, I had a great time tweeting this past Monday. Actually, I tweeted for the East Coast and the West Coast airings of the show, and it's always dangerous because halfway through, after the 2 hours of the one broadcast, I have to write a newspaper column and record our entertainment show, and in that time I've already gone through about a bottle and a half of wine, and then when they spring it on me and go, hey, you're doing West Coast, why not? You're already revved up, you're lubed up and ready to go. The sarcasm was in full force, by the way, on Monday night. I thought, yeah, you know what, let's make a night of it. Let's do 4 hours of tweeting The Bachelorette, because I had nothing better to do, obviously. But the sad reality is, I'm paid to watch television, so anybody who mocks me on there and is like, oh, well, you're still watching the show, why are you complaining? Yeah, you're watching it at home while I'm watching it in the office making money, so there you are. My name is Jeremy Bradley, this is The Scribble, I'll talk to you next time, bye-bye everybody.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.
If you want some real heat,